So first of all, hello, and excited to have you here. Excited to have this talk. And really, the point of this is, you know, my speech 4 months ago is almost the same speech today, right? The job hunt has changed big time. COVID has magnified that to where you actually have to work harder than I was telling you to work 3 or 4 months ago because of the competition, right? So the first thing that I talk about when looking for a job, right, whether that was 4 months ago or today, is that most people don't know how to do it because they don't do it often, right? It's not like you and I who we do this for a living all day, right? So the first thing that I tell people is that if you're going to these job boards and just applying for jobs, you're dead in the water. That's the first mistake. And there was an article out about a year ago that talked about 80% of companies hiring don't even post on job boards. They don't post, right? So if the average person looking for a job doesn't know that, when they go to these job boards, they start to get frustrated because they think, now I'm talking pre-COVID when the market was just on fire. They start to get sort of pissed off in the sense of, I thought the market was hot. I'm not seeing anything. So the first thing that I tell everybody is you have to understand that most good companies are not posting a job. So you are not going to see an open job, right? So then it's, okay, well then how do I get the job? If you're telling me these companies aren't posting and the job boards, Career Builder and Monster, which are essentially dead. I mean, I haven't used one of them in years, right? Then how do you get the job? And I'll sort of give you my blueprint. And you have to realize that your competition for this job in the last 90 days, or however long we've been going through this, 60, has gone up by 30 or 40 million, right? So 3 months ago, you would email someone, you get a response back. It's almost like the housing market, right? Rates are low and a house sells within a week now, and you have to make an offer right away. That's how it was 90 days ago when a company would see somebody good. They would pull them off the market right away because they were scared they wouldn't be there tomorrow because they get another offer, right? So the one thing that I tell people is that you have to understand that there's a lot more people on the market. So the process of looking for a job where you think may be taking too long or, ooh, they don't like me, that's not the case. The case is that they have hundreds of applicants, if not thousands, to go through, right? Versus 2 months ago where they had almost none. I mean, there were some jobs that, we couldn't get one person to apply for just because the market was so hot, depending on where they were and what they were doing. So the biggest thing that I tell everybody is this is a networking game where LinkedIn is your best friend by far, and you actually have to spend hours. This is going to sound crazy, working the craft and reaching out to people blindly because of the issue that people, especially now, are not posting jobs, right? That you almost have to go in and assume that everybody's hiring. And what I would do is I would go in, I'd find someone like Jonathan, right? I'm researching, let's just say Under Armour, right? Which is a big company here in Baltimore, right? My job is to say, okay, I'm on LinkedIn. I could see everyone that works there, right? So let me pick 20 people. I'm not going to send them an in-mail, right? Because the odds, a good response rate on LinkedIn from a good recruiter is about 35%. It's actually gone down, believe it or not. It used to be 45. So imagine how many people are messaging the HRs and the sales managers right now via LinkedIn. It's too many. So the homework that you have to do, which by the way will get you noticed in the aspect of people like myself understand that the hustle and the time that went into this wasn't just a quick apply, right? So I go into the company site, I write down literally old school, every name of the person that I think I'm going to send a message to. Okay. And this is where people fail. This shit takes time. It takes a lot of time, right? Because they're so used to, well, I just go to those sites and I hit apply. Those days are over. So I would go into a site, a company page, Under Armour, and I start going through HR managers, sales managers, recruiting managers. Who do I think is going to do the hiring? And then I do some research. I see that they went to school at UMD and they worked here for 3 years, right? I then call into the company and I get one email address, right? Once you get one email address, you have them all, right? So now keep in mind, I did research. Now I'm calling in to get their email, right? This is 90% more, if not 99% more than the average person who just hits apply. Right. So now this is where it gets time consuming. If I know it's Jay Martin or Jeff Martin, at Under Armour, and I have 20 names, right, it's going to be a good guess that I get 18 out of those 20 emails correct. So what I'm doing is now I'm sending messages, email messages to every single one of those people. And guess what? Those emails are tailored to those people. Hey, Jeff, I saw that you went to Towson. You were in the mortgage industry. I love that, right? I think that I can bring some value to your company. I've done some research, right? I love what you guys are doing. Would love to set up a quick time to chat. That's it. So my first tip is do the research. If you actually do a generic email, the odds of getting response will go down dramatically. If I drop some knowledge in there, by the way, that I actually don't care about, but I drop it in an email and a message more to show you that I've done my research, right? And I read about you. I know where you went to school. I know your job title. I know how long you've been there. Then the odds of them responding off the sheer concept of that I'm going to respond because this person actually put time in winds up going through the roof, right? The problem is this takes hours and hours and hours. So essentially is I'm doing the research. I'm writing the names down. I'm doing the research on Jonathan. Where did he work? Do we have any connections? And I'm actually writing an individual email for 5 to 10 people at every single company. And I'm not wondering or thinking about if they have a job opening. I'm assuming they want to hire me, right? And I do this, and this is what you're going to get. 90%, 85% ignore you. They don't give a crap. They're not calling you back. They don't even open your email. They don't care. Then there's that other, let's just say it was 80, the other 85. So let's just say 15% that 10% actually respond to you, but they say, hey, Jeff, I'm not the guy. You need to email Susie. Well, now think about this. I forward that to Susie saying, hey, see below, Jeff told me I should reach out to you. The odds of her responding go through the roof because now it's a coworker telling her, hey, call Susie, right? The issue again, and whether I speak to one person or 1,000, it's simple. If you don't execute, if you don't put the time in, right? You're talking 15, 20 hours a week, literally, right? To research the people, to get their email address, to custom tailor make, 5% of the email, the heart of the email, the juice of it doesn't have to change. But every time I give somebody this blueprint and they bitch and cry in the beginning, but they actually do it, they wind up getting more interviews than they could ever imagine. Doesn't mean you're going to land the job. The goal is a swing at the plate. And I'll keep it to this, and then we'll answer some questions if anyone's out there, is that I'm not trying to brag in my email. I'm just saying, hey, Jonathan, I read about your company. I love it. I think my background and what I bring to the table work perfect in what you're trying to build. I would absolutely love some time to discuss how, we can work together. By the way, attached is my LinkedIn profile. Would love to catch up soon. That's it. Boom. If I send 200 of those a week, I'm going to have 10 interviews a week lined up. But and by the way, if you're doing this, it's not because you just don't know better, but the average person thinks, okay, the way that I am going to get a job is to go on LinkedIn job board and just hit apply. I'm telling you, as recruiters, we don't like those, right? You send an email that gives me a quick snippet and ask for 5 minutes of my time, I'm responding, right? Because of the sheer fact that I appreciate the hustle, right? Hey, Jeff, I saw you went here and you ran this. I'm like, okay, 99% of the world is just flinging off emails, and this person is actually taking time and not sending me a generic, right? Then you get on the phone with me, and I'm like, oh, shoot, this person's good, right? My last 2 hires for my company personally have called or emailed me blindly. Done, right? The other issue is it's not bad. Don't stop sending your resume in. Just understand that 90 days ago, I don't even know how many days ago, let's just call it 90, that for every job posting, there was maybe 100 people every week and a half applying, or even every week. Now imagine as a recruiter or an HR manager that if you do put a job posting up, which you probably don't, but if you do, now you're getting 3,000. Dude, that takes 2 weeks to go through, right? So the best companies are just like, screw it. Let's sit back and let's let the best come to us, right? It shows initiative, a little grind, a little oomph, but that is the secret sauce right now. Get off the job boards. Stop sending your resume in like the other 5 trillion freaking people, right? The other 25 million. And I always say, get outside the box, be a little different, call attention to yourself, create a little bit of noise. I'll go a step further. I'll do a 2.0 and say that those that send a video are definitely going to get calls back. 100%. You send a video saying, hey, Jonathan, my name is Jeff Martin. I saw that you have an opening, or not even an opening. I read all about the company. I love what you guys are doing. I love what the company's all about. As you could tell, I'm passionate. I would love 5 minutes of your time to tell you why I think I am a perfect candidate to help bring your company value. Excited to talk to you. Boom. Now you're at a different level. You want to go level 3.0? Pick up the phone and call somebody, right? Do not sit back, go on these job boards and apply to 100 jobs and wait for someone to call you back. Get after it. Get ahead. Make sense?
It looks like we have unbelievable strategy, Jeff.
What's that?
Unbelievable strategy. I love it.
It's the problem is that it takes time. And we've gotten so lazy, right? Especially with COVID, right? Like now you don't even have to go out today. You just drive up and they put it in your front seat, right? It's like the other day, maybe 2 weeks ago, I needed something from Dick's Sporting Goods. All I did, I went online, I hit a button, I drove 10 minutes. Literally, I almost didn't stop. Rolled down my front window. They threw the sneakers in and I kept going. right? So where the rest of the world has gotten easy and you could eat dinner at a click of a button or buy a pair of sneakers, literally, if I didn't even have to, I don't think I ever came to a complete stop. She threw them in. I said, see, I'm out of here, right? The opposite is with looking for a job. You have to slow down and you have to say, okay, I need to reach out to these people. I need to send messages that are tailored to them, which means writing down notes. Went to school here, worked here, sending an email, doing a video. It's stuff that shows that you're willing to get outside the box and be different. And that's who people are looking to hire right now. Any questions from anyone? I don't know if anyone's on here or not. Are there people on?
We have one Q&A. It says, how important or relevant is a resume today, considering what you just spoke about?
That's a great question. So I'm going to give you my answer, and don't listen to me on this one. I think I don't look at resumes. I look at LinkedIn profiles. And LinkedIn profiles, you have to keep real. You can't bullshit me because all the other people are going to see it, right? My favorite's when I see a LinkedIn profile. The only time I ask for a resume, and this is me, right, is because I know my client, that's how they track you. That's how they put you in their system. That's what they look at, right? So you have to have one. I go off of LinkedIn profile. And what I love about it is I know you're not going to BS me because all your coworkers are watching. They can see it. So when your resume says you're, sales manager, no, when your LinkedIn profile says sales manager and your resume says VP of regional sales, right? I'm calling you out on that shit. So that's a great question. The problem is not everybody is with the times. And everyone still likes that piece of paper. And not everyone uses LinkedIn. All right. I go to LinkedIn, I check out your picture. I don't care if you're ugly or good looking. I care about if you're applying for a job and you're using your LinkedIn profile to do so, then take pride in ownership and make sure that you're presented well, right? If I'm recruiting you and you don't even have a picture, I don't judge you on that because I'm coming after you. You're not coming after me. But the second you use your LinkedIn profile as your personal website and I say, Jonathan, here's a link to my profile, make sure that is put together. The beautiful thing about it, I'm getting off topic, but this is important, is your LinkedIn now allows you to host videos. It's your own personal web page. So put a video there introducing you. I had Yahoo Finance reached out to me about doing a piece on me today. And they said, can you give us a bio? And I said, yeah. I just paste and cut my LinkedIn bio. Boom. You're allowed to tell the story there. So that's a great question. If you were going to change that question to what's more important these days, I think your LinkedIn is always going to be generic, job title, some bullet points. Spend time optimizing your LinkedIn profile. And what that means, not to get too ahead, but this is where I can go on for freaking days, is that your LinkedIn is SEO searched. Recruiters and other people will not find Jonathan, right? This is my favorite. They try to use sexy, unique, crazy titles to look good. The problem is the average person, myself, I'm just a recruiter, right? 90% of my day, 80% of my day, whatever it is, I'm recruiting. I will never find you if you're really a sales manager, but your title is People Operation, VP of America. I will never find you because that's not what I'm searching for. So this usually comes to those that have never had to really look for a job. I have to say, hey, you need to dummy down what you're doing. What is that? Oh, I'm a sales manager. Well, then let's put sales manager on your LinkedIn profile because those are the key words that companies, HR managers, recruiters, guys like me and Jonathan are going to look for. right? So now's not the time to get pretty and impress people. Get them on the phone and allow your talk to impress them, right? So your LinkedIn profile has never been more important. Make sure that you're putting in all the terms that you think someone looking for you need, because that's how they search, right? When I'm done here, I need to look for a VP of marketing, right? But it's not just VP of marketing. It's the system they use. It's all that crap in your profile. So when I put that in my keywords, you pop up number one.
Okay, great advice, man. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I'm looking to see on the platform. I don't see anything yet.
I don't see anything. I don't know how. Okay, I see that. Yeah. So
you have chat, you have Q&A, you have people. So you see, we have about 24 people signed in.
Gotcha.
That are watching.
And I'll talk until we get questions, until I'm cut off. But they go hand in hand. I want to make sure. I started a business a month ago on helping people optimize their LinkedIn profile, because that's how important it is. Right. There is no place to host a resume and hope someone finds it. There's Indeed, which, by the way, is a great company. But that's the only one. Right. Most people, doesn't matter what country you are, doesn't matter where, right? If they're coming after you, they're checking out your LinkedIn profile. Make sure it's optimized. Put video on there. Make sure the picture is professional. You don't have to spend any money, right? But you shouldn't be in a t-shirt, cut off with your arm around an old buddy. This is your personal website. This is your time to brag, right? Be a little cocky without doing it. It's on your page, right? It's also SEO'd. So you could Google, Microsoft owns LinkedIn, right? All this stuff works together. So there's never been a more important time to make sure that your LinkedIn is honestly up to par with your competition. Simple as that. So do your research. Take the time to figure out my email address. If you really want to get crazy, call me. But let's just start with email, right? I don't like to tell people to do too much, because it's hard enough to go from just firing resumes off on Indeed to actually taking time, getting outside your comfort zone and emailing people blindly. I promise you this, it takes a lot of time, but you're going to get callbacks and emails, because guys like me and women out there that do this, they know it takes time. That's what they want. I remember doing a Zoom call, it was maybe a month and a half ago, whenever this all started. I had 100 people on there, and they were all huffing and puffing, right? About, oh my God, I'm just looking for a job. This is craziness, right? Meanwhile, you're at home with nothing to do, right? And you're bitching about it taking time to find your dream job. And some lady said, this is crazy. I can't do this. This takes hours. I said, exactly why you're on this call, right? You wouldn't be on this Zoom if you had a job, but you're not going to get a job thinking that it's lazy, or that it's too much work. You're talking about your career. But again, we're used to hitting a button, food appears. You're used to, now you don't even go to Target. You just show up and they throw it in your trunk. This is the one thing that's gone the opposite way, right? Where you actually 3 months ago just hit a button and send resumes. Now you need to actually do homework. You actually need to work.
I remember hearing somebody talk about on LinkedIn a while back that we're in the show me economy versus the tell me economy.
Show me, baby.
Gotta show people.
100%.
All right.
It's the respect of, this person took time to send me a personal email, so I'll take time to respond back. By the way, that response could be, hey, Jonathan, thanks for reaching out. Right now, it's nothing, or I'm not the right person. Now you've got conversation. Okay, well, I appreciate you at least getting back to me. Now I could email them in a month and say, hey, just checking in again. it's almost 100% you're going to respond back. You know what? It actually is. Or you'll think this is amazing because you think everyone's so busy. But I may write back and say, I might not even write back. But all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, a job comes across my desk, and I'm like, oh, my God, what about that guy Jeffery reached out? Now, a month later, you get an email saying, hey, listen, you reached out to me. I apologize. I didn't get back to you. But you know what? We just got a new rec. We're hiring. Mm-hmm. Whoa. How?
So Charles Fine-Gross asks, I'm older. How do I compete against the youngsters?
So you're older like me. I got a birthday tomorrow. I'm feeling old as hell. And how do you compete against the youngsters? Is that the question?
That's the question.
I would compete. So you got to know what field you're in, right? And by no means, I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you. There's a lot of companies that want to go younger and green because they're cheaper, right? So the first thing that you want to do is talk about your experience over, right? And you don't want to call the youngster out, but right, you're going to go for the roles that are looking for more experience. Now, if it's a good role that doesn't require, like I have some great opportunities out there that will take a kid 1 year out of college, right? But they pay a lot of money. So how does someone more seasoned get in there, right? I would let them know that I'm not scared, right? To whether it's to take a step back title wise, I care more about the opportunity. The problem with seasoned people, it's not that they all think that, oh, I'm not getting a call because I'm old. That's bullshit, right? The reason you don't get a call is because they think that the job's below you and that if this is what people need to understand. This is important. I'm going to give you a little secret. A recruiter like myself pays $600 a month to use LinkedIn. LinkedIn gives us 100 messages. Okay? Hear me out on this. If I'm looking for somebody for a sales role, but Jimmy, or whoever this guy is, right? I'm just saying Jimmy, has been in sales for 20 years. But this is more of a mid-level. I'm guessing as a recruiter, I'm not going to waste my 100 email on you because the odds that you're going to respond are so much lower because as a recruiter, I suck and I'm just cherry picking people and assuming. I don't ever assume, but most recruiters do, right? So it's not that you're older. It's not that you have gray hair, you've been around. It's that the recruiters think that you won't want to do it. So if I'm messaging people, I'm going to put them on blast and say, hey, don't think because my experience, I'm not willing to come in, right, and start over, or I'm not willing to come in and compete with the young bloods. Like, say that, right? Let them know that because less people will reach out. Now, if it's a job that requires experience, then you're going to get a lot of those. But if I'm sending messages out, it's okay to say, hey, listen, I know you see that I have a lot of experience in the job that you may have doesn't require. I'm okay with that. As long as you have the opportunity for me to grow, I'm in. Let's go. So that's what I would do.
Great. Next question is from JJ Munitz. He writes, there seems to be several competing views on how to optimize your profile. For example, keyword heavy or more conversational. He wants to know which are the best ways, I guess, to optimize that.
So to optimize it, it's keywords. I would use those keywords, but keep it conversational, right? Like keep it, not too intense, but I would, and by the way, those keywords don't just have to be in the most recent part of your profile. You can spread them out. You could put keywords in, the job you did 10 years ago, right? So you don't have to say, oh, I have to come up with a bio and let me use 80 keywords in my bio and the shit doesn't make sense because you're just trying to use keywords. Spread them out, right? Like, but if you go to my bio, it talks about the word recruitment, coaching, counseling, jobs, right? I was able to put it all in one paragraph. But to answer your question, keywords. because that's the only way I can't search conversational. Right? If I was to show you a search right now, I am searching off of job titles and keywords. I would say job title is probably the most important.
So where would they go and find those keywords? He's a sales manager. He's an architect. He's whatever it is. He's looking for something. He's being told constantly, right? The bots and systems and everything else out there is trying to pick up on keywords. Recruiters are searching those keywords. How did you know which are the keywords that people are looking for? Where do you find that?
That's a good question. You have to rely on yourself. As I always tell this, if you are going to hire yourself, like I always tell everyone, hey, everyone thinks I know everything. I don't. You know a lot more about your job and what you do than I do. I know I'm like a pawnbroker. I know a little bit about everything in the industry, right? I have to. But I always say, you, the job seeker, are the master. So what do you think the keywords are? Right? It's not grind and hustle. It's not that shit. That's Instagram, right? It's what do you do? What software do you use, right? Matrix, like what's the job? A lot of it's job title. I'm telling you, everybody wants to go on and have some cute title. I'm a CEO. Like I don't have some, like everyone thinks that, and it's okay when you're not looking for a job, but the second you're open to new opportunity or you're looking, you have to use a title that would be relevant. Salesman, I go back to sales, HR manager, HR, right? But, there's people out there that are HR managers that say, director of people, I'm never going to find you because I'm never going to search that.
All right. So I'm trying to think right now on LinkedIn, there is a option to make yourself available to recruiters.
100%.
How smart is that? Number one, in terms of the attention that it garners for you amongst recruiters. And secondly, if you're in a current job and you're looking for a career switch, right, you got to be sensitive, right? What you post on social media, what's going on. You don't want to kind of expose yourself in that kind of a way, but you don't want to limit your opportunities. So how relevant is that?
Yeah. So I'm going to say this. I love my industry. I call out my industry. I'm about to call them out in a video this week that's going to shake some shit up. Recruiters are lazy. They want to go, you're a commission. I'm just telling you guys, like I keep it real. Everyone is a dollar sign, right? And I'm just speaking reality. Like we care about you. We want to get you a job. But when my client says fill XYZ, I got to find the best person, right? So the first thing recruiters do, and I tell them not to do this, but they all do it, is when a recruiter searches, it actually says 5,000 people fit these job titles, 350 open for new opportunity. 99.999% of recruiters search those 350 first. Why? Because if I'm going to send a message that costs me $5 every time I send a message, I get my $5 back when you respond negatively or positively. So if I know you're looking, I know I'm going to get my $5 back. I actually do the opposite. I'm like, everyone else is doing that. I'm going to go over here. Let me answer the second part of the question. If you are working now, anybody who has the same company listed on LinkedIn, even going back if they quit a year, cannot see that you're looking. So you don't have to worry about it.
You don't have to worry about it.
The only thing I will say that you have to worry about, not that I have to go there, is a recruiter can see it, and if they're tight with that company, say, hey, now, by the way, I've done this, and you may think it's a dick move. I've saved job. I only do it when I think I need to. I'll call a client, and I only call clients if I see a candidate searching, and I stay away. That's not my. But if I know and I'm very close with the company and this person's a key role, I've done before. I think I've only done it maybe a handful of times. I've called the people I'm close with and I say, hey, listen, all I'm going to tell you is you should have lunch with Jonathan and give him a hug. And I'm 100%. I'm like 3 for 3 at saving the job because they were looking because they didn't think they were going to get a promote. You know what I mean? But most of the time, we leave that alone because, hey, that's not my duty. So you won't get seen.
That's why somebody like you, Jeff, stands out in your industry. You're able and you're willing to do these things that most people are not willing to do. And you've spoken about that before for people who are looking for the jobs, right? They want to get something that people can't get.
Yeah,
you got to be willing to do what people are not willing to do.
Got to be willing to.
You stick yourself out there for the employer and for the candidate and for the employees that are looking for jobs. So,
and to finish up that question is, if you're worried about that, that has no effect on my game plan for you to reach out to people, right? But I will say it will open up people reaching out to you. The downside is, again, I'm making up numbers. If you're in an industry in your zip code where 3 months ago there was 5 people looking, now there's 5,000. So I go back to why I'm on this call. Don't worry about people finding you. You go find them.
Good point. So JJ is asking, would you put open for opportunities in your byline on LinkedIn?
If you don't have a job,
how desperate does it make you sound when you put?
It doesn't. Nah, I mean, 3 months ago, and again, I keep making up the numbers. 90 days ago, I would say something's wrong. We're in an economy where there's more jobs than qualified people. Right now, the world gets it. So if there was ever a time to put in open on your byline, it's now. Now, keep in mind, right? I'm not searching open. And I probably should. I should try it today. I'm actually going to, just search open, right, as open for opportunity. But you don't have to do that if you click the little box that says show I'm open. I'd rather you do that and keep those keywords for keywords, because that's where you put your title. So what you have to realize is your title under where your job is, you can't make it up. LinkedIn sort of, you could, CEO, like that comes up, right? And you want to use, this is very important. You want to use the titles that LinkedIn has in the Dropbox. When you put CEO, it says CEO, Chief Operator, because that's how their algorithm is. On top, where this gentleman is saying put open for new opportunity, you can put anything you want there, right? I would mimic what my title is for more exposure to keywords. So if I use that line, instead of putting sales manager, open for new opportunity, it's another shot that I'm missing out on keywords to find me.
So they're asking also, are other platforms like Facebook relevant for finding jobs? I
mean, I can't say they're not, but yes, they're irrelevant. They're useless. LinkedIn, again, you can put a video, say, hey, I'm looking, and that can get tagged and shared. And so I'm not saying don't do everything, but you're not going to find people. You're not going to find anyone that way, right? Like,
the most I've seen on Facebook were people saying that I'm looking for an opportunity in something, and then their friends or people they knew kind of like referred or tagged somebody.
That's it. So don't take anything I'm saying today as nothing else works. Please do not. Keep sending your resumes in. It takes 5 seconds. Boom, 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 boom. Right? It's annoying to me when I call someone. They say, "What job is this?" Oh, I hit apply to all the jobs, so I don't know what it is. Right? But I get it. Right? Go on Facebook and say, "Hey, friends and family, unfortunately with so and so, I've been unemployed. Anyone know? Here's my resume." I'm telling you, it's powerful. Do those things. But what I'm saying is, from a strategic standpoint, LinkedIn is the tool. LinkedIn allows me to see everyone that works there, take notes. By the way, one thing we haven't got into is, while you're searching on LinkedIn, what's unbelievable, are you going to start to notice, oh, I know that guy or her. She works there. Now I'm asking for a referral. Hey, John, I didn't know you worked there. Can you tell your, boom. So do not do everything in the world that you think you need to do, but add in what I'm telling you to do. The problem is it's a lot easier to go on Facebook and do a 2-second post than spend hours of research and emailing people. But that's what gets you the call back.
Yeah. How effective are DMs on LinkedIn? You know, like you try to find, you have a job opening, you're trying to find who the recruiter is that posted it, or who the HR person that posted it, and then you're trying to get into different people's profiles and connect with them. Obviously, you can't DM somebody you're not connected to, right? So that would run into a little bit of a problem. But let's say you are connected to them, or you're connected to somebody who knows, whatever the case is. How effective is it to DM? Some people feel that maybe it's borderline annoying, where the HR person can't respond to because there's a conflict of interest, or so on and so forth. Is it still something worthwhile?
100% if you do it right. So if you do a generic paste and cut, you look like shit, right? But if I actually, I say, if I actually spit back to you stuff that's in your profile, not a generic, hey, Susie, you know, I saw you've been running HR since 2012. That's impressive. I want to reach out. You know, by the way, we share a mutual connection, you know, Jimmy Smith, right? You'll never lose. You'll never lose. They may not get back to you, right? But where you will lose is if you just generically spam.
So I want to touch on one last point before we end the session. And you had a post about this maybe about a week or 2 weeks ago. And you spoke to people coming out of college, but I think it's applicable to everybody. And you told them a piece of advice, which was, you know, to be kind to everybody, that it's a full circle, right? That it comes back. And whether it's a recruiter reaches out to you when you don't need the opportunity, right? You know, be kind, you know, reciprocate, to refer maybe to somebody who might need. You never know how it's going to be.
It's like my hair on the back of my neck is standing up because you hit a point, right? So I'll tell you guys a quick story, and I'm going to go into this. I was after a lady. I went back, a lawyer in Philadelphia, February 2018, right? Kept the door open, great conversation. Reached out to her January 2019. Placed her last week. There is a lot of people that, by the way, if you ignore me, that's okay, right? But I tell people this, at least appreciate the opportunity. Hey, Jeff, I appreciate you. This isn't for me, but like, you know, or ignore me, right? But let me tell you something. If you get put in the process and you decide to no-show, which I still don't get, right? Or you decide to be rude or be annoying or this company stinks, you know what I mean? Like, that is the wrong move in 2020. And I'm not saying that maybe Jonathan was an ass and you didn't want to work there. That's great. But my message to these new kids out of school is respect who paved the way for you to at least interview, and treat it like it's your dream job, because it's always better to turn them down. Because let me tell you how many times I come full circle and now there's an opportunity that would be perfect for you, but I'm not going to reach out to you because you were an ass, right? And I don't even want to talk to you. So respect, be kind, thank you, show up to the interview. I don't care if it's at McDonald's, dressed like to impress, and it's always better to turn them down. Or, Jeff, I got to tell you, Jonathan wasn't the right fit, but he was such a good dude. I passed his resume off to this department, and they're going to call him. I get dozens of hires a year of people that went in, they were good people, they were kind, they did great follow-up, and get hired in that company somewhere totally different. But they were good. People care about good people. They don't give so much bullshit about all your bullet points. They don't. No, right? So be good, be kind, be fair. Do not. It drives me. I mean, I had 2 last week. No shows. They didn't Zoom call. They didn't, you know, it's like, and this is why I say it's bad. You screw your opportunity at that place probably forever, because it's all in the software now. By the way, LinkedIn, as of Monday, released their new software. It's scary. If you are an asswipe every other recruiter out there will now know about it. It tags to your profile. I'm telling you, do not. There's a difference of not wanting the job and turning it down. That doesn't make you bad. But what makes you bad is not showing up, right? Being rude, that type of crap. Go in, and I always say if you get there and the place is a shithole and the people are rude, laugh about it, walk out, and say, no, thank you, this isn't for me. That's it.
People need to remember, we're dealing with people, with human beings at the end of the day. And, it's all about building the relationships with people. It doesn't matter whether or not, it panned out or it didn't, right? People are not opportunities. People are not something that you're trying to take or something you're trying to seize or to grab, right?
Yeah.
So there's always something greater and far beyond what's behind
It'll
that.
come back. And let me tell you, again, I can go into scenarios till midnight. I mean, the amount of times I interview someone that's not a good fit, and I send them off to a place I'm not even working the opening. I just think they're so awesome. I just don't have the right role for them. And then they get hired.
That's it.
Why? Because they were a good person.
Jeff, this was an amazing talk. I think there was a tremendous amount of value given to people throughout.
I appreciate you having me, and I'll leave with this.
Yeah.
Execute. You could wake up wanting your job. If you're not willing to work for it, why would I want to hire you? You're not willing to take 5 to 10 hours a week to email people custom-made emails? Why do I want you on my team? I don't.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you having me.
My pleasure. All of this is recorded, right? So people are going to be able to tap back into it. Even people who weren't able to take part of this session, they're going to be able to listen to it afterwards. So
yeah,
tremendous value.
Good luck with what you got going on. Keep me in the loop.
Will do. Thank you.
Later, brother. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.